Good morning. The new football season kicks off again in a little more than 5 weeks, and we can reveal the fixtures for the new EFL campaign.
Yeah, here it comes, the big X Factor moment. 3-2, well, they didn't even need a 3-2-1. Here they are. So keen to show you the EFL fixtures that arrived before even counted down. But let's take it away. Let's start, shall we, with the newly promoted clubs then. Norwich head to Cardiff on the opening day of the season. Burnley begin life back in the Championship away at Huddersfield as well. They're two of the 3 relegated clubs from last year. And what else have we got there over the course of Watford at home against Sheffield United, also on the opening day of the season?
OK, what about the promoted teams then? All 3 will start at home. You can see Sunderland against Coventry at the Stadium of Light, Wigan against Preston right down the bottom there. And where are we? And Rotherham against Swansea. Rotherham against Swansea, there we go.
So let's take you through all of the games then on the opening weekend of the Championship season. At Ewood Park, 2 new managers will go head-to-head. It'll be John Dahl Thomason's Blackburn Rovers against Michael Beale's QPR. Paul Ince will face his former club as Reading go to Blackpool. Yeah,
then we mentioned Cardiff against Norwich, Huddersfield against Burnley, and Hull take on Bristol City. Luton face Birmingham.
Yeah, it is Middlesbrough up against West Brom. Millwall against Stoke as Gary Rowett faces his former club at home.
Yes, and Rotherham, Swansea, Sunderland against Coventry, Watford against Sheffield United, and Wigan against Preston.
Yeah, that is the Championship. Let's head into League One, where, of course, Derby County find themselves this season, and they begin life in the 3rd tier of English football. They will be at home, and they'll be taking on Oxford United.
Yes, the opening day games then. OK, Accrington are taking on Charlton right at the top, and 2 of last season's promoted sides face off as Bristol Rovers face Forest Green.
Yeah, fabulous promotion for Bristol Rovers last season, wasn't it? And Forest Green up in the 3rd tier for the first time ever. Cambridge at home against MK Dons, who narrowly missed out on promotion themselves. And Peterborough once again back in League One. Will they start against Cheltenham?
Yeah, Derby against Oxford. We then have Ipswich against Bolton and newly promoted Exeter. Where are they? They're away at Lincoln.
Forest, Morecambe rather face Shrewsbury. Michael Duff's first game as Barnsley manager is at Plymouth.
Port Vale face Fleetwood in their first game back in League One. There's a big game at Hillsborough as Sheffield Wednesday take on Portsmouth, and Wycombe are at home against Burton.
Championship down, League One done. Let's head into League Two as well, and we'll maybe focus on a couple of the newly promoted sides. Stockport back in the EFL for the first time since 2011. They've got a home game as well to get them started. They're up against Barrow. Grimsby are at Leyton Orient on the opening day of the season.
The full list then, AFC Wimbledon, well, they're facing Gillingham. Bradford at home to Doncaster.
Carlisle take on Crawley and Swindon. Playoffs for them last season. They go to Simon Weaver's Harrogate on the opening day of the campaign.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, Leyton Orient against Grimsby. Northampton are against Colchester.
Rochdale against Crewe, and Salford under new management once again. They're up against last season's beaten playoff finalist Nigel Clough's Mansfield.
Stockport, as we mentioned, back in the Football League. They are facing Barrow. Sutton welcome Newport.
And it is Tranmere against Stevenage, and Walsall take on Hartlepool. A reminder that the games will be played earlier start this year, July the 30th.
Yeah, incredibly, the new season gets underway just 5 weeks tomorrow. Sky Sports will bring you all the action. To kick off the season, it's Burnley who begin life back in the Championship under Vincent Kompany against Huddersfield, who came so close to promotion. Then on Saturday evening, 2 promotion hopefuls, Middlesbrough and West Brom, go head-to-head. Sunday sees Sunderland make their return to the 2nd tier. They kick off the season live on Sky against Coventry. And on Monday night, Watford back in the Championship are up against Sheffield United.
And with us to digest all of that, the former Villa and England midfielder Lee Hendry, the star of our EFL coverage. That was his own words, not mine. Morning to you, Lee. Championship first then. And it's always the question is, how can those relegated teams respond? Norwich and Watford used to it, but this is the first time Burnley have been in the Championship for a while.
Yeah, I think Burnley's the one, isn't it, that really stands out, particularly with having a new manager. I think we're going to see a different style philosophy from Vincent Kompany. But I do think it'll be a big season. I think there's a point to prove there for Vincent to come in, make a big impact. And it's a great opportunity. I think, being relegated, it's always hard to bounce back. I remember going to Sheffield United and being in a similar sort of circumstance where I thought we were just going to get straight back into Premier League. It's not, and we know how relentless the Championship is. So some real big teams in there yet again.
Yeah, just quickly on Vincent Kompany. I mean, Gary Neville said, "Where do you want your statue?" I guess he'd like his statue at Turf Moor as a legendary manager. But it's a big signing, isn't it, from Burnley, a Premier League legend in the Championship, and we know how tough the Championship is. But it's eye-catching, that managerial appointment.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it was always going to be who was going to step into the shoes of Sean Dyche, and obviously how well he did at the football club was remarkable. You can't take that away from him. But it's a new era, and I do feel that Burnley fans will certainly be excited at the fact that they've had that appointment of Vincent Kompany. As I said, I think he's got a big point to prove. We're starting to see young managers that we've watched, enjoyed playing football now coming into that managerial role. The likes of Steven Gerrard even coming into the Premier League at Aston Villa. We're starting to see these players filter through, as you'd expect, being big leaders in a football team.
It's difficult. You said there it's a new era, and you touched on Sean Dyche, who did a fabulous job, and people still ask the question on the last day of last season, if they hadn't have sacked him, would they have stayed up? But it's now not just Dyche, is it? James Tarkowski has gone. It looks like Nick Pope might leave. Does that make it a little bit easier for Vincent Kompany that says, do you know what, I'm going to do things my way? I don't care how Sean Dyche did it as well as he did it. This is my team now. Yeah,
I think so. I really do. I think that he's been given the opportunity to put his stamp on things. Sean Dyche, his style of play, some people might not say it was attractive. It was effective. He'd done them well over so many years. So, you do feel that this might take a little bit of time. I think players that certainly are leaving the football club, big players, let's not forget, that have served the club really well. Now it's all about bringing in the right players, recruiting well. It's a quick turnaround, isn't it? Before we know it, we're just seeing the fixtures there being released, and things have got to start moving quite quickly if Burnley are going to certainly push it and be promoted this season.
Would you expect them to go up? I mean, we see the yo-yo clubs, and we see Fulham backwards and forwards, Norwich backwards and forwards, with the kind of money that they will still have by virtue of being in the Premier League. It should give them a head start over some of those other clubs. Do you imagine they go straight back?
I'd have thought so. I've got them down in my top six, certainly, to be amongst it. I do feel that the sides that have been relegated, as you said, they've got that sort of bit of a head start with budgets. But again, new managers coming in, they've got to get it right, haven't they? That's the thing. It's all right having the money. It's actually, as I said, recruiting well, bringing in the right personnel that's going to suit the Championship, because we know it's relentless. The impact of playing Saturday, Tuesday, the turnaround's very quick. So, it's all about getting the personnel in that's going to be really key for Vincent Kompany and obviously taking Burnley back into the Premier League. But I do think they'll certainly be in the mix of it.
You said there that you've got Burnley in your top six for the season. We asked the fans on Twitter this morning using the hashtag GMSF to give us their predictions, and one Sunderland fan, they're just up from League One, said we're going to be in the top six this season. What do you reckon?
I've got them down in my top six as well. Yes, I have.
You're rapidly giving away your predictions.
I know. I'm slow. They're the two I'm giving away, but Sunderland, I think. The way I look at Sunderland is that they've been out of the Championship. They're destined for top flight football. It's took some time. They've had to change managers. Alex Neil's come in and done a brilliant job. Finally got them into the Championship. I do feel this is going to be a springboard for them. I really do. I just think that a football club of that stature, that size, the fan, I think their home form is going to be so key for them this season. When you're getting 35,000 plus, in the Championship, not many sides get that. So I do think that is an extra man for a football team. I really do. So I think Sunderland will certainly be bouncing high, and I think that they'll have every chance.
Yeah, a good point about the Stadium of Light, isn't it? And that being that extra man. I mean, if they've got enough quality in their squad, and I guess the other thing is, in terms of the signings, Championship players, what do you need to get out of the Championship? In terms of that blend of youth and experience, you need those wily old heads. Do you have to have been there before and done it? What do you think?
I mean, we've seen teams go, do really well with young players. We've seen teams do really well with older, experienced heads. I think you do need a mixed blend. I think Alex will certainly know that. He's certainly got the calibre of being in the Championship with Preston, so he'll know what it's all about. I think now, being a football club of that stature and getting a fine blend in, I do feel coming up and having that bounce up into the Premier League is always going to be difficult, but the expectations are so high at the football club, so I do feel he'll get it right. I think he's got to bring a few key additions in that's going to make Sunderland certainly tick this season, and it's not going to be all plain sailing, but I do feel that home form could be so pivotal in them getting promoted.
One of the things I love about the EFL, and particularly the Championship, you talk about the size of the club there, and teams like Sunderland, we've seen it in the past, Leeds, it took them 16 years to get back up to it, is that there are clubs who say, do you know what, we don't care about your reputation, like a Luton Town last season or a Huddersfield. It's the way that you're coached, the way that the club is structured. Your name and your history doesn't count for anything.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, lots of sides do go to the likes of the big clubs you've mentioned, the Leeds that were in the Championship, the Aston Villas that were there. And now we've got the Watfords, the Burnleys. So, yes, I do feel that these are cup finals for, no disrespect to the likes of Luton, who did absolutely remarkable under Nathan Jones, and that just showed the togetherness, the small squad, the small budget, what he can achieve. It's certainly out there to do that, but you've got to have the blend, you've got to have the manager that can have that belief and force that through the squad of players. So yes, I do feel that is going to be a big factor, is that these are going to be cup finals for Sunderland every single week.